Hello students. So today's topic is system of particles. So whatever we mass we see, the type of mass, the material, okay, that is composed of, we can imagine like many number of particles. Okay, we can imagine, so that right. So you can say that so many particles are included in a mass of system. Okay, so what we see when we apply a force on a body, okay, this body moves. Okay, so now whatever the motion of the body is, the same thing can be applied to every particle, right? If body is moving, the particles inside the body is also moving, right? The motion of the particles and the body is almost same only. But when we don't have some rigid type of body, then what could be the result? When we apply the force, it could happen like some particles are moving in the x direction, some particles are moving in the y direction, because they were not rigid in structure. Okay, they were not attracted, they were not in a rigid form. Okay, so now we see center of mass. Actually center of mass means whatever the mass the body has, na, then that mass is actually the sum of all the particles mass, right? So now when we apply the force on the body, it moves in specific direction. But center of mass, it refers to the condition when where the point where one point we can consider that point, if we apply some force in that point, the same result will be seen if we apply the same force on the body. You did not get, right? So see another time what is happening. Imagine a body that is composed of many particles. Okay, now how do you see? So see here the figure. So we have two mass particles, m1 and m2. Okay, and that is located from point O to x1 distance. Another one is in the x2 distance. Okay, so the distance is different. So now the center of mass is that such a thing where we can say that the whole mass is conjugated, whole mass is located, we can say like that. Okay, that is the center of mass. So here that the point is a c. Actually if m1 and m2 both are same in the mass, then the distribution of mass is homogeneous in nature. So in that case, if it is homogeneous in nature, then we can say that c point, okay, c point is the center of mass. Means we can imagine here two bodies were there, m1 and m2, but that were in a specific distance. Okay, but when we say center of mass is c, that means we can imagine m1 and m2 both mass is present at point c only, right? So this is the actually center of mass concept. Okay, so center of mass actually defines the point at which all mass is concentrated, we can imagine, so right? So that is the center of mass. So you can see that is the x, capital X is written. So distance is capital X from the O point to the center of mass. Okay, so this is defined as capital X is equals to m1 x1. So distance of m1 is x1, so m1 x1 plus m2 x2 means distance of x2, the distance of m2 is x2. Okay, so m1 x1 plus m2 x2 by m1 plus m2, this is the formula of center of mass. So you can see this one, the next one, here it is written, right? So capital A, the center of mass location of the center of mass is actually m1 x1 plus m2 x2 plus dot 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 divided by m1 plus m2 plus dot dot dot, means how many masses are there, we need to consider all those. Okay, so the next one, this is very normal case. So if mass is equal, okay, so both mass is equal, so now we can see that m is m1 and is equals to m2 is equals to m. We suppose that the mass is m. So now we get capital X is equals to x1 plus x2 by 2. That means the distance of first mass location and the second mass location divided by 2, average distance is achieved, right? So that is the center of mass. Okay, so you can see if we consider 3 masses, okay, m1 m2 and another one is m3. So now m1 x1 plus m2 x2 plus m3 plus m3. Okay, okay, so this is already achieved. So if we consider like in the y direction also some masses are there, then it is like the value of y will be like this one. So like a distance, a specific distance is written as r. So the distance will be like in the I cap. I cap means the unit vector unit vector towards x direction, and unit vector towards y direction, that is j, and unit vector towards k direction, that is k cap. Okay, so this is from vector. Actually we'll discuss in the vector chapter. Okay, done. So this is done, so this also done. So sorry for delay, just a second. So now it is velocity. So obviously a distance is there of each particle. Now what is happening, the particle is moving, so the each velocity of the each particle will be like d by dt of that distance. So right, so ultimately it gets v. So what center of mass, center of mass velocity, capital V is equals to m1 v1 plus m2 v2 plus dot mn vn by capital M. Okay, so capital M is the total mass, m1 v1, m1 m2 m3, these are the mass of the particles. Okay, and the velocity of that those particles are v1 v2 and v3 likewise. So we get this formula, same like distance. Okay, so if we consider in the form of acceleration, then we get same thing. Okay, m1 if a is the acceleration, a1 is the acceleration of particle a, so m1 a1 plus m2 a2 plus dot mn and an divided by capital M, the total mass. Okay, so acceleration obviously d by dt v. Okay, so applied force can be calculated on each particle, and we know that force is the vector quantity. So addition of all those all those forces applied on each particle can be added to get the total force. Okay, so now linear momentum of a system of particles. So linear momentum of a system of particles means two type of motion we have. We know linear motion means it is not changing the direction of motion. Okay, and in that case linear momentum is is related. Okay, so linear momentum means the mass into volume in a linear motion, right? So system of particles, so now we can have momentum of each particles, and that is also momentum is also a vector quantity. So we need to consider the total amount of momentum of the masses will be like sum of the each masses momentum of each mass. Okay, so you can see the total momentum is m1 v1 plus m2 v2 plus m dot mn vn. Okay, so same thing is coming, right? Distance, velocity, acceleration, then momentum, force, okay, everything. So now you can imagine one explosion occurred, okay, just imagine one explosion occurred. So from outside we did not apply any force. So what happened? The center of mass, so the center of mass got, the center of mass, we consider center of mass is the location at which the mass was concentrated, right? So as we did not apply any force from outside, so whatever the motion occurred on each particle will be nullified with respect to center of mass. Means the location of center of mass must be same only. It should not change the location because we did not apply a force from outside. So the momentum, so the momentum um, achieved by a specific particle should be neutralized by another particle, so that the ultimate momentum should be zero because we did not apply any force from outside, right? So that's the basic. So here you can see two vectors is applied and one resultant vector got, we got two unresultant vector. So in this case what we see, it is the anti-clockwise motion, okay? So anti-clockwise motion, when we do the anti-clockwise motion and we apply two forces, okay? So two forces equal but in some different direction. So now resultant of what, on another vector, on movement is achieved, that is towards up side, right? This is from vector only, okay? This is from vector, the unit vector in the direction of x into multiplied by unit vector in the direction of x is obviously 0, because we know that multiplication in case of vector gives I sine theta. So in sine theta, the sine theta, here sine theta, in case of sine theta, theta is the angle between these two vectors. If we are taking in the same direction, then angle is obviously 0, so sine 0 means 0. So ultimately the resultant is coming to be 0, okay? This is cross product, right? So in this case, in the case of cross product, it is coming 0. So okay, but in the case of dot product, it comes to be 1, okay? So leave. So the next one, this is from vector only, okay? So we don't need to focus here, we will do it later. So here you can see v is equals to omega r. So translation means linear velocity is equals to angular velocity omega into r. R is the distance, r is the radius of the motion, okay? So you imagine one body is moving in circular motion having a radius of r, okay? And angular velocity is omega. So angular velocity means per unit time how much angle it is making, that is the angular velocity. So this angular velocity into the radius of the motion, by multiplying this to we get the linear velocity, okay? So likewise same thing happens in case of linear momentum, like linear momentum is equals to radius into angular momentum, okay? So in case of linear force, F is equals to the angular force means actually torque, so torque into the distance, radius of the motion. So okay, so same thing in case of acceleration. So linear acceleration is equals to radius of the acceleration, radius of the motion into angular acceleration. So a is equals to a is equals to alpha theta, okay? Okay, so alpha is equals to d omega by dt. So change of angular velocity in unit time, that is the angular acceleration. Okay, so alpha is equals to d omega by dt. So now this is about torque and angular momentum. So whatever we have the knowledge of force, that is for translational motion or linear motion, same thing happens in case of angular motion or rotational motion. The torque is similar with the force. Okay, so actually torque is actually meant to be moment of force, means the force, applied force into distance of the force from the motion or the center point, that is the torque. Okay, so you can see here a force is applied and the distance of force from the base point, that is the r. So force into the distance r is equals to the torque. So here you can see torque is equals to radius of the motion or the applied force and the amount of force. So torque does same thing like force in case of rotational motion. Why we are considering the distance? Because the same amount of force does not make same rotational motion. Like you can imagine in case of your room gate. Okay, so what we do when we apply the force, same amount of force very close to the base point of that gate, it is not moving properly. But if we apply same amount of force in a distant point, then it moves further. So actually increasing the distance from the base point is increasing the motion or the velocity. That's why we consider torque. So in case of torque, we need to consider the distance of that force from the base point. Okay, okay, so it is di by dt. So d by dt, I means r into p. So r into p means p is the momentum and r is the radius of the motion. Okay, so this is done. So now di by dt is equals to tau. So whatever we know about force is equals to d by dt of what? A. Is it right? No, it's not. Actually d dp by dt means change of momentum by unit time, that is the force, and change of angular momentum divided by time, that is equals to torque. Okay, so we need to remember the similarity with translational motion and rotational. In case of translational, it is uh, it is the displacement, but in case of rotational, it is the displacement making angle. Okay, angular motion. In case of angular motion, the angle it is making. Okay, and translational motion velocity, but in case of angular, it is angular velocity. Okay, omega. So in case of force, it is capital F, translational motion. In case of angular motion, it is torque, tau. Okay, for acceleration in translational motion, capital small a, but alpha for rotational motion. So conversion of momentum, we know conversion of momentum. If we don't apply force, no momentum changes. So same thing happens if we don't apply torque, that angular momentum does not change. Okay, so this is in case of angular motion or rotational motion. Okay, so this is done. So equilibrium of a rigid body. In case of translational motion, we don't apply force. Okay. In case of rigid body, equilibrium, if we don't apply any type of force, if we don't apply any type of torque, or if we apply but same amount but opposite in the direction, we need to apply another force or torque. Okay. So the sum of that force should be 0. Okay. Or sum of the total torque should be 0 for rotational motion. So this is the condition of equilibrium. Okay. So it will not change the motion, means whatever it is having the velocity or angular velocity, that will not change with time. It could be 0 or it could be constant for long time. Okay. So here you can see force is applied. So couple of force is applied, same amount of force. At A point it is in the lower direction. Okay. But in the B point it is upper direction. Okay. So the force amount is same but the direction is opposite. So what it does now, it will so you can see at the B point it is trying to make clockwise. No, it's not clockwise. It is trying to make anti-clockwise, right? Anti-clockwise motion. Same thing in the at the point A also, anti-clockwise motion. So ultimately the anti-clockwise motion will happen. So rotational motion will be there. So as we don't have a resultant force, okay, so it will not have any translational motion, but we have resultant what torque. Okay, because torque, we know that torque is actually dependent on the distance also. Okay, and the direction and the axis of rotation is same here. So it will finally make it rotation. Okay, so that's why torque, this is couple or torque. Okay. Okay, so in daily life we use it very frequently, right, to open the lid of or cover of a bottle. Okay, here also these are example what we do in daily life. So now center of gravity. So center of gravity is a point, okay, through which if we apply a force, it does not have any rotational motion, it will have only translational motion. That is the center of gravity. Okay, so see, so translational motion we will not have. Okay, so sorry, we will have only translational motion, we will not have any rotational motion in case of torque applied. Okay, so now the kinetic energy for translational motion, we have half mv square, where m is the mass and v is the velocity of the particle. So now in case of rotational motion, it is half m v square. V is equals to omega r, so it comes half m r square omega square. Okay. Okay, so kinetic energy is half m omega square r square. So half m omega square r square. So mr square is known as moment of inertia. Okay, so moment of inertia, we have mass as a inertia, but moment of inertia means mr square. Okay, so that is written as I. So okay, so half mv square. Now for translational motion it is half mv square, for rotational motion it is half I omega square, where I is the moment of inertia. Okay. Okay, thank you.